It's the Poojie Podcast, proudly sponsored by Cimarron Golf Club. What is going on, Pooj crew? Thank you for being here for episode 82 of the podcast, our first live stream, and no better occasion to do it than the NFL Draft. 10 days away from today is the NFL Draft, and we are extremely excited, obviously, as Jaguar fans. We have the number one overall pick for the first time in franchise history, and presumably, I think we all know where that pick is going. Extremely exciting times to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, but just extremely exciting times to be an NFL fan in general. There is a loaded field of prospects entering the NFL Draft. Only 32 can go in the first round, and we are going to try and highlight some right now as we do our 2021 NFL Mock Draft. It's going to be a great episode. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the notification bell, and if you are watching live, please comment any questions you might have, whether it's about a pick, whether it's about a team, no matter what it is. Comment your questions. We'll try and answer them while we are recording. But anyways, again, thank you for being here for episode 82. And as always, thank you to our sponsors, Cimarron Golf Club, Shores Pub Mandarin, and Strings Sports Brewery. I bet both those places are going to be pretty packed for the NFL Draft, and maybe some people playing golf the next day at Cimarron. I know I might have to consider it myself on April 30th. Maybe Luke, maybe one of our GMs here with us. If Zach wanted to make the trip up, maybe we all take a break after the NFL Draft round one. We all get out on the golf course. What do you guys say?
Let's go hit some balls around before the round two starts.
Exactly. Well, plenty of time to kind of debate on that first pick of the second round, right?
Absolutely. For us Jags fans, a little bit more fun for that first pick.
Right. And you know, we were so excited just to get the first pick. And then when the Jets fudged it up and they beat the Rams, and who was it that they beat? They almost beat the Raiders, but then they beat
the Browns and the Rams.
Rams. Yeah. So they almost actually won 3 games, which isn't totally disrespectful, but they won 2 games. That secured us the first pick in every single round. So we are excited. We'll be going to bed on Thursday and Friday night, looking ahead to the first pick of the next day. But we're going to get this thing started. I can't hold it in any longer. As a Jaguar fan, 26 years old, I was 7 years old the last time we had a franchise quarterback that did anything relevant. My family moved to Jacksonville in 97. We saw some good things. I'm unfortunately a little too young to remember the Mark Brunell days. I grew up believing David Garrard was going to be the next best thing, and Byron Leftwich. Then we had Blaine Gabbert. And then we had Blake Bortles, which holds a big piece in all of our hearts for Blake Bortles. We love Blake Bortles no matter what. Always the boat. Big UCF guys here. But now it's finally time for Jacksonville, after 27 years of not having a true franchise quarterback, to finally get their diamond, and it's not even in the rough. It's sitting right in front of them with the first overall pick, and with the number 1 pick in the NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars go with Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson. I know everyone's shocked. Look at these faces. Who would have thought? I mean, you look at what he does on the field. You look at what he's done at Clemson, even in high school. 2 losses in his whole high school career. Goes to Clemson, beats Ohio State, Alabama. ACC's not that competitive as it used to be, but he has everything you want. He has the leadership capabilities. He has the awareness. He just has the smarts. He has everything you want in an NFL quarterback. He's mature. He just got married. He's third year minimum, which is always a checkbox that you like to check going into the NFL. And he just seems to have his life together, and he's excited for the future. And I know he's excited for the future in Jacksonville. I'll tell you this, Luke, I know you got to pick for the Jets. Trevor Lawrence is not a big city guy. He is a Jacksonville guy. He fits the mold of Jacksonville in Duval County. That's the exact reason he went from Georgia, a small town in Georgia, to Clemson, South Carolina. He did not want to go to a big city. Clemson, South Carolina it was. And now, welcome to Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. And with the second pick in the draft, let's go to you, GM Luke Mucci. Or Zach Munoz, excuse me. Zach Munoz, go for it.
Yeah, so this is going to be my first pick here. Again, thank you for having me, Justin. You guys know me. I'm a lifelong Dolphins fan, so as a GM for the Jets, I would love to just pick the worst player in the draft, but I'm going to keep the credibility of this mock draft going. And, the Jets, they would be foolish to pass, especially after trading Sam Darnold away, to pass up on my man. Hey, the greatest have that name, Zach Wilson. All right, that is who the Jets are going to take at number 2. Zach Wilson out of BYU. We all saw what he did to UCF in the bowl game. Granted, we were playing with some backups out there on defense, but this guy has the potential to do great things in the league, and I'm excited for it. I hope he doesn't do too well against my Dolphins, but yeah, I'm going to say that the Jets are taking Zach Wilson at number 2.
I like it. I mean, you're right. You're spot on. Great pick there for Zach Wilson going to the New York Jets at number 2. They get a quarterback, the first of their GM's tenure there in New York. He'll have some fun tools to play with as well. And while we're at it, we're going to add a 4th GM to the room. We're bringing in GM DJ Leggett, our mock draft professor. He has been thrilled and excited preparing for this moment. I can tell. Look at his face. Look at that face of his. You wouldn't even know
on in the background. We have the alarm going off.
The mock draft alarm. Sam, can you hear us? Give us some love.
How's it going, you guys? Made it just before the pick. Don't want to miss the pick. The next guy could go ahead and jump me and I got a great player that the 49ers are going to take. Got my red tie on for the 49ers. Let's go. This is going to surprise some people, but the San Francisco 49ers with the 3rd overall pick are going to take Mac Jones out of Alabama. I got my, it's a big one. I got my scouting report on Mac Jones right here. Let me just read off the first 4 things you need to know about Mac Jones. Intelligent, accurate passer, pocket composure, good decision maker. These are all things that Kyle Shanahan wants in his quarterback. He is going to control the game with his game plan. He needs a quarterback that can perfectly execute that game plan. Justin Fields, some consider would be the pick here. However, I don't believe that, big throws win games in the NFL. I think that good game plans and accurate quarterbacks win games. So Kyle Shanahan takes the most NFL-ready quarterback out of the bunch and makes a run at the playoffs this year with him.
Mac Jones. We're going with Mac Jones for the 3rd pick. I mean, that is unbelievable. A year removed from Tua being a top 5 pick to the Miami Dolphins out of Alabama. We have another Alabama quarterback going in the top 5 in Mac Jones. Jacksonville native, played right up the street, 15 miles from here at Bowles High School. And I know some people in Jacksonville, they love the SEC here. They love them some Mac Jones. He'll be all the way out on the West Coast, according to Sam Leggett. But let's see if he can get the job done and take place of Jimmy G. Sam, we had this discussion in episode 81. What does that mean for Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers?
I believe that, Kyle Shanahan is a smart coach. I think the best thing to do with a new quarterback is have him sit under a veteran quarterback. I don't think they're going to rush Mac Jones in, but, Jimmy Garoppolo does have issues staying healthy. So they do have Mac Jones that can just hop in if something like that were to happen. And if Jimmy G starts, kind of slacking, they have a 2-3 start, something like that. I could see Mac Jones coming in. Let's all remember that Super Bowl, big deep throw down the field. Jimmy Garoppolo misses it. Wide open guy. Mac Jones.
Could have sealed the Super Bowl. Could have sealed it.
Yeah. Would have sealed the game. Mac Jones, one of the most accurate deep ball passers in college football, as well as a 77% completion percentage, the highest in NFL or in FBS history. If you love it. And he kind of reminds me of a Joe Burrow in that you have this big ascent in your senior year. Look how Joe Burrow's worked out. First overall pick. You get Mac Jones at the 3rd overall pick. I think it's good value.
Setting up the 49ers nicely. I like it. Let's move on to the 4th overall pick. And with the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft, GM Luke Mucci, now it's your turn. I apologize about before, has the Atlanta Falcons. Go for it.
Oh, good. For the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, they ended the season 4-12. They have a lot of holes to fix. I mean, just one pick is not going to fix all of that. There are question marks at quarterback. I think Matt Ryan is an okay quarterback. He had some stats. He can throw the ball deep. I think on draft day, they will actually trade this pick away and get some more draft capital because picking number 4, they have a lot more things to cover. And if they can get more picks and move down some, I think they would love to do that. So, but in this draft, we are not doing any trades. And so my tie, hopefully I wasn't giving too much away, but I'm going to take Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. I just think if you can have Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Kyle Pitts, that's going to stretch a defense so thin that they're just going to keep putting up points. So Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons at 4.
I like it. We are going with Kyle Pitts, first offensive player to go in, or first non-quarterback offensive player to go in the NFL draft. According to Luke Mucci, Kyle Pitts, a huge target. They're going to Atlanta. Hopefully they can kind of figure out how to put pieces together. You mentioned all the holes they have to fill. You're exactly right. Not one pick is going to correct what's going on in Atlanta. And I would actually go out on a limb and say right up there with the Jets, the Atlanta Falcons might have one of the worst rosters in the NFL as things stand right now. And that's unfortunate as Matt Ryan is approaching the end of his career and that he's not maybe going to get another chance to be on a, Super Bowl bound team like he used to be. Let's get into pick number 5. We have the Cincinnati Bengals. Kyle Pitts would have been a fantastic option in this spot. However, the Falcons have already selected him. There's 2 players on the board right now that I think could be the fit here. And it's going to be offensive line Penei Sewell from Oregon, or it's going to be wide receiver Jamar Chase out of LSU. And if it wasn't for Joe Burrow at LSU, I would take Penei Sewell. But I think the Cincinnati Bengals, as GM of the Bengals, they are going to marry Jamar Chase, former wide receiver at LSU, with his former quarterback, Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and they are going to have some fun there in Cincinnati. The offensive line needs tons of work, but I think the gap between Jamar Chase and the wide receiver you can get in the second round is a bigger gap than it is at offensive lineman. I think they can still get some pieces for him to get protection on the front line, I guess, later in the draft. I'm going with Jamar Chase here as the 5th overall pick to the Cincinnati Bengals. And we will go back to Zach for the 6th pick, the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, baby. 6th pick, we had the 3rd pick from the Texans, traded that back to the 12th, moved right back up to the 6th. Originally I did not think Pitts and Chase would be taken this quick. I thought at least one of them would be there. So if the Dolphins fall into this area, I could see us possibly trading back a few spots, maybe for a team that's looking to get Trey Lance, Justin Fields, because there's nothing crazy out there right now. But you know what? You guys threw some wrench in my plans, so I'm going to just go with something off script here, and I'm going to say Penei Sewell. Everybody's saying that we need to have offensive targets for Tua, but if we could protect Tua with Penei, this guy is supposed to be a top offensive lineman coming into the league. We all saw what I believe his name, Tristan Wirfs from I don't remember where he went, but he went to Tampa, and what he
Iowa.
did,
He went to Iowa.
He was in Iowa, was drafted by Tampa, and he became one of the top offensive linemen last year, let alone obviously with the rookie class, protecting Tom Brady. So I think that's something the Dolphins definitely will look into. And we'll take Penei here. You guys took my offensive weapons that I was wanting, so Penei Sewell will take.
Now, Zach, I will say I think that one of those 2 guys will be there on draft day. Like I said, I think the Falcons are probably going to trade back. So on draft day for the actual Dolphins, I think one of those guys will be there for you.
Yeah, and to carry on that, the Falcons are the wild card here. I don't know what they're going to do. They could easily go Kyle Pitts. They can easily take a backup quarterback and do what Sam's wanting to do in San Fran, rest the quarterback for a year, sit behind Matt Ryan. So we don't know, but this is definitely a possibility. So if that happens, I know there's Jalen Waddle and there's Devontae Smith. We could pair them with Tua, but we did just get Will Fuller. We have Devontae Parker. I think an offensive lineman at this time, especially Penei Sewell at number 6, the value is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, Penei Sewell, that you're talking about, 2 months ago, he was regarded as potentially the number 2 pick in the draft. So if you're getting him at 6, you're getting a top 3 value. I mean, I've seen outside of Kyle Pitts, I've seen Kyle Pitts as the number 2 prospect. I've also seen this guy, Penei Sewell, as the number 2 prospect. I am a firm believer in drafting offensive linemen in the NFL because I think that there is the smallest gap of transition, meaning I think going from college to pro, you're going to have the slowest or the fastest learning curve, I guess.
Yeah.
The smallest learning curve to kind of get accustomed to. I think this is a great fit for the Dolphins. Penei Sewell at number 6. Zach, let's stick with you and go Detroit Lions. Hopefully Aaron Wassenauer is watching. We're going to see what his reaction might be on this. But what is your thoughts on the Detroit Lions?
So, the Detroit Lions, they're another franchise that's kind of just lost, man. They've been in this division with the Packers all these years. The Bears always come up and do their own thing. The Vikings have been fighters as well. The Lions just never have been able to put it together. They just made this offseason trade. They traded away Matthew Stafford to get Jared Goff. I think they stick with Jared Goff this year, and I think they lost Kenny Golladay. They lost Marvin Jones Jr. to y'all's Jaguars this offseason. So they got to give Jared Goff an offensive threat, an offensive weapon. And here, I'm between Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, and I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. I think you can't pass up what this man did this past year. Nobody could cover him. Nobody could guard him. He just looked like a complete stud. I know his problem is he's undersized, but people are comparing this guy to Marvin Harrison, and I like that. He was in the league for a long time. Obviously, he had a great quarterback with him, but if you have a comparison to Marvin Harrison, I'm taking that top 10 any day. So Devontae Smith with the 7th overall pick.
Marvin Harrison, a guy that a lot of us Jags fans obviously know well, completely destroyed us with Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Joseph Adai, all Edgerrin James. I think of that Colts team, and that was just like the staple of my childhood as a Jags fan. It was never the Jags. It was always, gosh, the Colts are still good. They still have Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning, all these great offensive weapons. The Detroit Lions, if they got someone of the likes of Marvin Harrison, that could be a dangerous team. I mean, obviously Calvin Johnson had success there with Matthew Stafford. As dumpster fire as the Detroit Lions are, they for some reason always churn out great wide receivers. And we've seen that recently with Marvin Jones. We've seen that with Kenny Golladay, Calvin Johnson, and so on. Devontae Smith, Zach is calling it now, will be the next big-time wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. Sam, GM DJ Leggett, let's go over to you. We have the 8th pick in the draft. You're wearing the hat of the Carolina Panthers. Who you got?
So, what's that? Oh, I got my phone ringing. Here. It's all the teams that need a quarterback are reaching out, and they suddenly want to trade up to number 8. We got the Broncos right behind me, who are really worried somebody's going to move up and take their guy. We got the Patriots at 15. We got the Bears at 20. These are all teams that really need a quarterback, and they're potentially top 2 player in the draft is still sitting on the board. I think the Panthers could be receiving a ton of calls right now, but we're not doing trades in this draft. Let's just say that no team wants to move up. The Panthers are stuck there. They just picked up Sam Darnold in the offseason. I think they really want to put some protection around their young quarterback. Sam Darnold, he's been in the league for forever. The man is only 23 years old. It's like getting a rookie with 3 years of NFL playing experience. You want to protect this guy, let him figure the defense out, and actually be able to dish it to his receivers. I mean, you could have the best receivers in the world. That's why I kind of think that tackles might be going too late, because if you can't get it to your star receiver, it doesn't matter how good he is. So I got the Panthers taking Rashawn Slater with their pick, shoring up that offensive line, and giving Sam Darnold some time to do what he was meant to do at third overall when he was picked by the Jets.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think that this is a team that's similar right now to the Falcons, except they don't have the quarterback situation figured out. They have the running back situation figured out. And we know Christian McCaffrey is a fantastic player there. Rashawn Slaughter, actually, he I guess fixes two needs, right? He helps out Sam Darnold. He also helps out Christian McCaffrey. What team doesn't want to help out both their quarterback and their running back besides the Jaguars? No team. So, this matches up perfectly for the Panthers, taking Rashawn Slater at number 8 overall with the Carolina Panthers. I do think you're spot on that there will be a trade in this spot, especially if Justin Fields remains on the board at number 8 overall, which I think is in large part due to our picks in the top 5 with Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase going off 4 and 5. So, and also your pick, Sam, of Mac Jones going 3. A little interesting there, but I like it. A little wrench in the whole equation. Well, let's go over to GM Muchie with the number 9 pick. The Denver Broncos are on the clock. Who you got?
Yeah, so the Denver Broncos, I hear what you're saying on that. I mean, the Drew Lock experiment is over, I believe. I think they want to move on. So what are they going to do? They have, in this situation, you have Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Now, what everyone's saying is that Trey Lance is a guy that needs to sit a year and learn behind somebody, whereas Justin Fields looks more like a plug-and-play, immediately kind of guy. So in this situation, I think if the Denver Broncos want to move on from the Drew Lock experiment immediately and have a quarterback competition come this fall, Justin Fields is the pick for the Denver Broncos so that they have a legitimate quarterback battle going on.
I like it. I mean, hey, the talent he has, what he's put on the tape, what he's put on the field at Ohio State cannot be forgotten. It's obviously everyone's very aware of his talent. And I think he'd be the number 1 pick in most drafts dating back the last 10 years. This is the most loaded quarterback class that we have seen in recent memory. And I think guys like Justin Fields and even Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson actually kind of cementing himself as the number 2 quarterback is quite a testament to him, considering Justin Fields has had a lot more love and success in his time at Ohio State than Zach Wilson did. So Zach Wilson has kind of actually merged ahead of Justin Fields in what was maybe the most difficult spot to do so, with Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and the likes of Trey Lance and so on. This is just a completely loaded quarterback class. If Justin Fields falls to the Broncos, he's got a medley of weapons there at the wide receiver position. We're waiting to see Cortland Sutton bust onto the scene. I think that this could be a move that would help that happen. They have great tight ends. They have Noah Fant is there. Like this would make sense. Their offense would immediately improve under Justin Fields. So I do like this pick a lot for the Denver Broncos. Back to GM DJ Leggett for the 10th pick in the draft with the Dallas Cowboys. Who we got for the Dallas Cowboys, Sam?
I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to lock in a cornerback at this pick. Their defense hasn't had a cornerback for what can you even name one? So let's go ahead and take what they believe is the number 1 quarterback in the draft, the most pro-ready team, college team. What's his name? Patrick Surtain with the 10th overall pick. Shore up that defense, kind of solve at least some of your problems there with stopping the pass, and they've just been terrible at it the past few years. So they're going to take a cornerback, and I believe that Surtain is their guy. I think there's a couple other guys on the board that might be better than him, but he is a well-rounded, pro-ready cornerback. So they're going to go with the well-rounded guy and bring him to Dallas. Star.
I like it. I mean, you're right. They haven't had I think, Zach, didn't you guys get their most recent decent defensive back?
Yeah, we got Byron Jones off of free agency, and he was pretty solid. He was very solid for them, which is why he got the huge contract from us. But yeah, I definitely think Sam hit it right on the nail on the head. You got to go cornerback with this pick for the Cowboys. At least best defensive player, at least at the minimum, and that would be probably Patrick Surtain. So,
Yeah, I mean, the 10th pick in the draft, and we just hit our first defensive player. So it kind of shows you the direction of the NFL in total. We have quarterbacks going off the board, offensive linemen, tight end going off the board in the top 5. Who would have thought we'd see that day? And some wide receivers as well. So first defensive player going at number 10 to the Cowboys in Patrick Surtain. Dad formerly played for the Dolphins, right? So I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
he played across the side with us. This guy named Sam Madison, our other quarterback, which is we got DJ Leggett over there, and his roommate was also named Madison. So it was a cool little
Sam Madison. Boom. I like it. Well, let's move on to the 11th pick in the draft. GM Poojie is here to announce who the New York Giants will be taking, and I had a lot of trouble with this one, to be honest with you. I feel like the Giants are kind of in a position like the Cowboys. They definitely need defensive help, whether it's on the line, whether it's at linebacker, whether it's in the secondary. Eli Apple has not panned out how they wanted him to, or they didn't. He never became what they thought he would be, and he's now no longer even a piece in that puzzle. So what are the Giants going to do? Well, I'm going to take linebacker out of Penn State, Micah Parsons, to the New York Giants here. I'm glad the Cowboys did not select him. They do have some pretty decent linebackers there in Dallas. I think the Giants, you look at the history of that team, they're known to have some great front eights in their history with O.C. Umenyiora, Michael Strahan, so many other great guys in the front eight for the New York Giants. I think Micah Parsons becomes the next great linebacker for the New York Giants. And quite frankly, I'm kind of excited to see what he does become for the Giants, simply because I think he has flown under the radar in this draft because it's been such an offensive-heavy offseason in draft talk. Micah Parsons, I think, is going to be a superstar in this league. So that's who I'm going with, Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons. Number 12 pick, GM Zach is back on the clock with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded back to get to this spot with my Miami Dolphins. They picked up another future first round pick. They got rid of Carson Wentz. They're sticking with Jalen Hurts. They got to now provide Jalen Hurts with the targets, with the weapons, like a lot of these teams are trying to do. Provide their quarterback with weapons, especially their young quarterbacks. So Jalen Hurts. Please welcome to Philadelphia your man, Jalen Waddle.
Ooh.
And, solid receiver from Alabama. You pair him back up with him. That's going to be another Alabama player taken. This guy is solid. His comp to the NFL is Tyreek Hill right now. He's got the speed. He's got the after-catch playmaking ability. So I really like this for the Eagles. They need somebody like that maybe work a little screen passes with Jalen Hurts and go from there. So Waddle with the 12th overall pick.
Waddle, make me waddle. Get under. In all seriousness, I think Jalen Waddle, I saw this picture the other day. Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, and Devontae Smith, all on the same receiving corps at Alabama. How is there not regulation in college football? How does that happen? That is unbelievable. All 4 guys top 15 picks in the NFL draft in their respective seasons. It's insane. I think Jalen Waddle, obviously him and Devontae Smith, I think are not necessarily interchangeable, but I think depending on what teams need, depending on the style of receiver, I think Jalen Waddle matches up very well and could compete with Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith as the best receiver in this draft.
Well, I just wanted to add, too, you're talking about Alabama wide receivers. I mean, today, in this draft alone, we've mentioned Mac Jones, who played for Alabama, mentioned Tua, who played for Alabama. Now I just mentioned Jalen Hurts, who was at Alabama, all in the same quarterback room at one point. That school is loaded. It's how good they are.
You got to respect it. I love it. I mean, it's a great pick there for the Eagles. I know Jalen Hurts will be excited about that, at least for this season, if he remains quarterback moving forward. Let's go over to DJ Leggett, GM for the Los Angeles Chargers now. DJ Leggett, who are you going with at pick number 13?
But dang, these Eagles got a lot of speed on the outside. They got Rager, and now they got Jalen Waddle, some 4-2, 4-3 guys in that room. Jalen Hurts is going to have a field day. So, but as far as the Chargers are going to go, you'd think, Chargers, they could shore up their offensive line, protect their franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. I think that would be a smart thing to do. This is a huge tackle class, though. I think the Chargers might be thinking maybe we can get a guy in the second round, in the third round that can start on our team. But their number one cornerback is still on the board. The Chargers just lost their franchise corner, their main guy there. What's his name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Justin, help me out. Corner.
The corner from the Chargers?
The old guy. He's been on the team forever. Oh, what is it?
We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. I'm going to remember. I'm going to shout it out in a couple minutes. But they just lost him. They're going to take J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, their top cornerback on the board. Lengthy guy. Lengthy corner. Long arms. Gets physical with him. Imagine a Jalen Ramsey type. Good speed. Got 4 speed in his pro day. 4.3 speed. High 4.3s. The guy's got speed. He's got physicality. He's got length. Everything you want in a top cornerback. And Patrick Surtain, his dad did play in the NFL, so he kind of got that good blood in him. Potentially could be a really good player for him. Casey Hayward is the guy I'm thinking about.
Casey Hayward. I was thinking, Jason Verrett, I thought played for that. Like, I actually know a lot of Chargers corners, but that one I kind of associate him with the Packers more than the Chargers for some reason.
Really? Well, yeah. I mean, he was great for a long time there. So now you're talking, okay, J.C. Horn. They get Derwin James back. Yeah. They have their linebacker. Oh,
they got Joey Bosa too.
They got Joey, and then you got Joey Bosa. It's like this defense is finally starting to come together. The Chargers have a new head coach, new defensive coordinator, who's really his main strength. Obviously, is having a great defense. So, it's going to be great for the Chargers. I think they need a solid defense. Get that ball back to Justin Herbert so he can do his thing. There will be tackles throughout the second round you can pick up there.
I like it. Great pick there. I mean, obviously, you can't go wrong with secondary. I think the top 3 corners, a lot of teams have them ranked 1, 2, 3 in any particular order. J.C. Horn, obviously, right up there with the best of them. I think Patrick Surtain gets a lot of help from the defense and the team and the logo on his helmet. J.C. Horn gets the benefit of the SEC to his name, and I do think that at the end of the day, he could be the best corner coming out of this draft, just a little bit, in the shadows of Patrick Surtain's name and logo on the helmet there. So great pick for the Chargers. Let's go to pick number 14. Back-to-back picks for GM Luke Mucci, whose girlfriend chimed in to the chat. I don't know if she's still watching. Let's take a look. Cheers to that, Luke. It's back-to-back picks for you.
I think it was for the Florida pick, honestly.
I don't know.
All for the Kyle Pitts.
She's excited to see back-to-back picks right now.
Absolutely.
Well, go for it. So we got the Vikings at number 14 on the clock right now. Who you're taking?
So I actually wanted to touch on Zach's pick. I mean, might as well call them the Philadelphia Jalens. You have Jalen Rager, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle. Just call them the Philadelphia Jalens and let it be that. So Sam took J.C. Horn, corner out of South Carolina. I think the Vikings, what they do well, run the ball. And if Kirk Cousins is playing good, I mean, they have some good receivers, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. So, I mean, I think they're doing fine on the offensive side. What they need to do is stop the other team from scoring so that they can win more games. They were 7-9. If they can push up a little bit higher, they might be able to make the playoffs and make a run. I mean, the offense is good. Let's make the defense even better. So with that, I think we need to get some more sacks on the board for the Minnesota Vikings. And with that, we're going to take Kwity Paye, edge rusher out of Michigan.
Oh, okay. Kwity Paye out of Michigan, obviously playing in the Big Ten, going against a lot of fantastic teams on the offensive side of the ball. Recently, we've seen some Big Ten teams actually step up and compete with Ohio State. I do like this pick. Obviously, the team as a whole has underperformed, but Kwity Paye, he's got speed off the end, and he's versatile, can even slide inside if you wanted him to. He's just a strong individual, and when it comes to being on the defensive line, you need your individuals to be stronger than theirs. So I like this pick. I think that could be a pretty good difference maker for the Minnesota Vikings. And am I mistaken in saying Yannick Ngakoue is still in Minnesota, or did
He's now on the Raiders, actually.
Raiders? So he went Jags, Ravens, Vikings, Raiders?
Jags, Vikings, Ravens, Raiders.
Okay. Well, he lost a lot of money, to be honest with you. He could have made so much more money in Jacksonville. But anyway, that's besides the point. So Minnesota obviously looking to replace some pieces there, some older veterans on the defensive line as well. Kwity Paye out of Michigan is going to be the pick for the Vikings at 14. I like it. So we will go to 15 with the New England Patriots. Like I said, back-to-back picks. Luke Mucci, you are still on the clock, and I think I have an idea of where you might be going.
So I think when Sam was talking earlier about the Carolina Panthers, the Patriots could potentially try and trade up to that spot so they can pick of the Denver Broncos. I think maybe the Cam Newton pick or selection that they have at quarterback right now isn't going to last for another year. I think he's on a 1-year deal, so maybe they pick up a quarterback here to sit on the bench, follow Cam Newton. I don't think the Patriots roster is in a win-now mode. They don't have all the pieces there quite yet. They have a Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, good tight ends, but they need to shore up some other things altogether to be competitive in the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills. So I think currently at the 15th spot, I will take Trey Lance. We can sit behind Cam Newton, have Bill Belichick right there to coach him up and just show him what the NFL looks like for a year. And then the next year, the Patriots are coming back with Trey Lance.
I like it. I mean, I saw this coming. Guys, Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I love that pick. I think that Bill Belichick, I mean, you can see from his offseason moves, he is not content being a middle tier coach. So I think it's either all or bust for him. Trey Lance is the all or bust quarterback in this draft. So go ahead and take him. Perfect quarterback to learn behind Cam Newton. We'll kind of show him the way, kind of, the ups and downs of the NFL. He'll kind of teach him, to go with it. And Trey Lance is a great quarterback. The man has one of the best arms of any of the quarterbacks. He might even have a better one than your boy Justin Fields. He just didn't have that many reps in college. Man, he only had, I want to say, around 320 pass attempts in his whole college career. And it's kind of insane to say that equates to about 15 passes a game, so their coaches didn't do him any help as far as an evaluation standpoint, but it's going to be a great pick for the Patriots. And I think that, on draft day, that could happen. It could happen, honestly. And he could fall that far. He's just not a ready quarterback right now. So teams that need a more polished prospect are going to go somewhere else. But
yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to it, playing at North Dakota State, no knock on North Dakota State or FCS, but he just doesn't have a lot of recent film. So they play one game in 2020. The competition he's playing against is not the likes of the FBS level, even the G4, the Group of Four, or the Power Six. So there's a lot left to be wondered, or I guess we're waiting to see more. I guess he just held a second pro day. He's doing all the right things. If he falls there to 15, I just don't know if the Patriots, like you said, are going to wait that long. I don't know. There's not many teams in front of them that I think would take a quarterback, to be honest with you. But I do see also the Patriots potentially trying to move up even to that number 8 spot with the Carolina Panthers there in the first round. So we'll go to the number 16 pick halfway through the draft with the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals, they have the makings of a good football team. They have good weapons on offense. Kyler Murray is obviously a top tier, mid to top tier, top 10, I would say. A lot of teams would take Kyler Murray over their current situations, I think is the easiest way for me to say it. And I think when it comes down to it, the running back game is kind of still a question mark there in Arizona. On the outside, they're good. But I think at the end of the day, Kyler Murray needs to be protected, and he needs time to actually play quarterback. Now, it's difficult when you're trying to draft offensive line for a mobile quarterback. Is it an athletic tackle that you want to take? Is it a interior offensive lineman? But I think here they're going to take the best interior offensive lineman on the board out of USC with Elijah Vera Tucker, who also has a fantastic story, personal story. If you have not checked that out, go check out that story. A great story. Not a lot of people know about it. He gets the Pac-12 treatment out there at USC. But Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be the pick here for the Arizona Cardinals, just to shore up the offensive line and give Kyler Murray some time and even give the running back some opportunities up the middle. That's who I'm going with at 16, Elijah Vera Tucker. What do you guys think of Kyler Murray as a quarterback? Like, would you take Kyler Murray over like a Russell Wilson at this point in their career if you're building for the future?
Absolutely. I definitely would. I'm a huge Kyler Murray fan. Really love him. Think he's a great player, great quarterback. And the mobility to it does remind me of Russell Wilson a bit. But he is younger. He's got a lot to learn in the league. And, I mean, right now, I mean, you see the weapons he has around him. They just signed James Conner, and they got A.J. Green to tag along with DeAndre Hopkins, and Kirk. So, yeah, I definitely think that offensive line pick is solid. Good pick there. And, yeah, Kyler Murray's a stud. I think he could be in the MVP talks next year.
Okay. That's some big love for Kyler Murray there. I actually like it.
I thought he was going to be in the MVP. I thought he was going to be like top 3 MVP this year, to be honest. I was just rolling on that sophomore year. It seemed like Patrick Mahomes in his sophomore year won MVP. Then Lamar Jackson, his sophomore year, won MVP. I was like, dude, Kyler Murray's got to be the next one. Here comes Aaron Rodgers trying to shut everybody up. But, yeah, I definitely think Kyler Murray has some good game in him.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch. Luke, did you have something?
I was just going to say, yeah, I think the NFC West is just the most competitive division in the NFL right now. I mean, all 4 of those teams could potentially be the winner over there. They kind of beat each other up almost. You got some good defenses with the Rams and the Niners. They have some edge guys that are just going to start chasing Kyler Murray around. And the Seahawks obviously have Russell Wilson, who's putting up a lot of points. So the NFC West is just so strong that you got to get something there to help out. He has the weapons. Now give him some time so we can get it to him.
Yeah, and I think it's so funny when you start watching these competitive divisions just start to build against their competition. Like, that's what it's all about anyway, and I love watching it actually happen. And, yeah, the Seahawks may be eons better than the Giants or whatever it might be, but when it comes to the divisional matchups, no matter how good they are strategically built against each other. So it's always good football. So I do like the NFC West, and I do think that they need some protection there for Kyler Murray. Let's go to the 17th pick with the Las Vegas Raiders. DJ Leggett, our GM for the Raiders. Who we taking there in Vegas?
The Raiders are sad. They just saw their prospect go 1 pick ahead of them, Elijah Vera Tucker, to the Cardinals. The Raiders are like, one of our top offensive linemen's on the board, and now he's gone. Luckily, there's still some more guys that they're going to take at offensive line. I think that's the direction that they have to go. The Raiders got rid of every single offensive lineman that started last year. So how do you protect your quarterback, Derek Carr, at all? Well, you have to draft replacements, and so they're gonna take a replacement. I loved Elijah Vera Tucker. He actually played left tackle last year, so not just an interior guy. The guy can play all over. If you need to put him at left tackle, you put him at left tackle. I think he's great. The Raiders, though, are going to take the next best guy, in my opinion, is Christian Darrisaw, a lengthy tackle out of where'd he go? Virginia
Tech, yeah.
So coming out of Virginia, he's got some good length to him, a solid tackle, a good prototypical tackle. Could use some more experience, obviously. All these guys do. But the Raiders are going to have to shore up that offensive line somehow. Let's go ahead and use our picks on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I like I said, similar to Trevor Lawrence, like in the ACC, you're not getting that much competition. But when these types of players stand out, that just means that much more. They are standing out for a reason. And I think Christian Darrisaw, again, like we said about the quarterback situation, I think this is a great offensive line class. And I think Christian Darrisaw is going to slide a little bit in a situation where he typically may have gone even earlier. And again, like Elijah Vera Tucker, both those guys could in any other year maybe be a top 10 pick, but there's just so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. So I like that pick for the Raiders. Christian Darrisaw, you hit the nail on the head. I think some of their offensive linemen got lost in some strip clubs and casinos out there in Vegas because they never came back to the facility, and they need to replenish the offensive line there in Las Vegas. And let's go to the 18th pick. Miami Dolphins. GM Zach is back on the clock with the Miami Dolphins.
Back on the clock. That's what I like to hear. One of 3 teams in the first round with 2 picks. The Dolphins, you guys as Jags, and hate to say it, the Jets. Jets suck. But yes, the Dolphins, we took Penei Sewell. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll learn it, though, with our first pick. This second pick, though, there's 2 guys here that you could either help Tua right now with more weapons, or we could shore up our defense. We've lost Kyle Van Noy to free agency, or not to free agency. We just released him. We lost Shaq Lawson and via trade. We did get a middle linebacker out of that trade, but our edge rushers right now are very lacking. And there's somebody that was playing locally here this past season, and I think it would be foolish for us to pass up on somebody that played for the University of Miami. So to move from Coral Gables over to Miami Gardens, at the 18th pick, the Miami Dolphins select Jalen Phillips. This guy is a stud. He was the number 3 recruit according to ESPN coming out of his high school recruiting class. He went to UCLA, transferred on over to Miami, played so well for Miami this past season with Gregory Rousseau opting out for the season. So Jalen Phillips, man, he showed in his pro day the speed he has and the athleticism. He is a monster, and I think from day one, this guy will make an impact on the field as an edge rusher for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You keep him at home in an environment that he's comfortable in. Some players want that. Some players pray for that. They want to stay home. They want to stay local. You keep him in that environment. You keep him where he's comfortable. And like you said, he's got speed like a madman. I almost put a picture up behind me of him just defending Trevor Lawrence extremely well in a game against Clemson. And that's just what he does. He can close off the edge. He can stop everything. And I remember just seeing him time and time again, any Hurricanes game I would watch, going to the sideline, holding up the chain, whether it was a fumble, I think he may have even had an interception, kind of like a fake rush, backed off into coverage, got his hands on a ball. Like it's great to watch him play, and it's another great story having a transfer shine at his home college and then become a first-round pick. Like this has got the makings of a great story here for the Miami Dolphins. So I think honestly a great first round for those 2 picks for the Miami Dolphins, going from what you said, Penei Sewell and Jalen Phillips, just shoring up the trenches, right? That's where football starts. They want to start in the trenches.
And, I wanted to just say, if Jalen Phillips was taken before the Dolphins got there at 18, the other choice that we had was Najee Harris and team him back up with Tua. I could see us trading back at that point if Jalen Phillips wasn't there because, I'm very skeptical on running back super early in the first round. But yeah, Jalen Phillips was there. I think he has the chance of being the best edge rusher in this draft. I know Kwity Paye was taken first. I would have alternated between them if one of the 2 were there. If they were both there, I would have taken Jalen, but they're both.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. I mean, both those edge rushers are great. And Najee Harris, I think the issue with first-round running backs, we've seen it before, the production as far as what is expected of them just maybe sometimes doesn't justify a first-round pick. Like running backs just don't get the use that they used to get back in the day. So it's so hard to sometimes justify those types of picks if they're not going to play every down, right? You look at a guy like Jalen Phillips, he might be on the field 85% of the time, whereas running backs will split carries. They're all over the place, and that's just how it goes. So we're going to move on to the 19th pick with the football team, and we're going to bring GM Luke Mucci in to take care of the 19th pick.
Yeah, Washington football team. I mean, they have a really, really good defense. They went 7-9 last year and still made the playoffs, which actually probably hurt them in the long run. But they played the Bucs really close. I mean, it was a good game between the Buccaneers and the Washington football team, and it shouldn't have been based on record. But I do love that defense. And as Jaguar fans know, if you have a solid front line with some coverage guys, you can make it to almost the Super Bowl with average quarterback play. But now they have Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke. Don't know who's going to start between the two. I think it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. But since the line is so good, I think I want to shore up the secondary. And I'm in between Caleb Farley and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Big mouthful of a name for a linebacker.
Yeah, I think you did great. You did great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I am going to actually take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. As the Jaguar fans, we saw for our linebacker core, Kelvin Smith is a very good guy in coverage. So is Miles Jack. They both are very fast and can cover the ball. So if you have somebody like that out of Notre Dame, he was great in coverage. He's very fast as a linebacker. So you give the edge rushers more time to get to the quarterback. The quarterback might make a mistake and throw some picks.
Yeah, that was the ingredients for that 2017 Jaguar team right there. You just keep cycling guys in, you keep getting to the quarterback, make them make mistakes, and let your secondary kind of do the work from there. So I completely agree there. Great job pronouncing the name JOK. I like that. That's a great just little nickname, easier to say.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to write that whole name out. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for that acronym.
Good abbreviation.
JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. All right, with the 20th pick, the Chicago Bears are on the clock, and Sam is going to take us with the 20th pick. Who are we going with for the Bears?
Yo, the Bears are sweating hearing the Washington football team talk about their potential players because one of them was definitely on their board. Caleb Farley is going to be the pick. Potentially could be the best cornerback in this draft if it wasn't for him sitting out last year and his injury concerns. He had back surgery last year while he was sitting out, but this is potentially one of the best players in the draft. I think he's got great athleticism, great physicality, and brings that alpha mentality to the defense that the Bears kind of lost with Kyle Fuller moving on. The Bears are in a situation where they could kind of take whoever they want, best player available, but with this alpha still on the board, I think that they're going to want to put an identity on defense. Him and Khalil Mack, like you said, coverage, pass rush, average quarterback play. They need to win now or else their head coach is out the door. They want to win. They are middle of the pack every year. They need a difference maker on defense with Khalil Mack to actually be able to cover and to have their prime piece able to do his job. So I think that's going to be the pick. Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. That's two players out of Virginia Tech going in the first round. When was the last time that happened? Let's go, baby.
I was just about to say 2 in the top 20 out of Va Tech. That's pretty impressive. Only a few picks apart as well. So I think it's a great pick, though. Again, the cornerbacks are like the quarterbacks in this draft where there's just so many good players that I think a lot of teams are going to get very lucky and be very happy with who they come away from this with. So I think that's a great pick going Farley there. You can't really go wrong with him. Going into the Chicago Bears defense, which historically has just been known to be one of the better defenses in NFL history. They always seem to have a decent defense. You mentioned Khalil Mack, so that's exciting for them. Going with Caleb Farley. Well, I got the 21st pick. GM Poojie is taking on the Indianapolis Colts, and similar to Zach, I just kind of want to drive the Colts into the ground here. but I do have to recognize that they are a very good football team, and they have a fantastic defense, at least top 3, top 5 in the league right now. There's pieces all over the place that they could use, and I really actually don't know where to go with this. I think if you're a Colts fan, you maybe want to see one of those wide receivers drop to this spot just to get them in there for Carson Wentz. You have a new quarterback in there who is obviously very injury prone. We've seen that in the past. He can't really withstand a full season. So I think the easy move here is going offensive line again. And I did not set it up that way for me to just keep taking offensive linemen. But I'm going to just go with the best offensive tackle left on the board right now in Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. There's really not much to it. It's an offensive tackle. I think at this pick, you're kind of taking the position of need with the best player available. I think they could have gone cornerback here. They could have gone offensive tackle. Wherever they value the best player remaining that fits the position of need is who they're going to go with. And in this case, Caleb Farley would have been the pick potentially, but he is gone. He is now a Chicago Bear. I'm going to go with Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State to the Colts at number 21. And that takes us to the Titans with GM Zach, Tennessee Titans, another divisional rival of the Jags. So luckily none of us three are actually doing this one. So, so give us the 22nd.
Fun fact on my end, one of my first jerseys actually was a Tennessee Titans jersey. I was a big Vince Young fan. Not going to lie. I know you guys are all Jags fans. I'm sorry about that. But here I am now. God knows how many years later, maybe 15 years later, drafting for the Titans. I feel what a story that is. But yeah, the Titans, they just lost Jadeveon Clowney to the Browns and via free agency. So I think definitely they want to shore up that defense, especially you guys are Trevor Lawrence. Most you just took Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars. The Colts just got Carson Wentz, and the Texans, if he's playing, Deshaun Watson is there. So I think you need that an edge rusher there to chase those quarterbacks down. I'm going edge rusher out of Georgia with the 22nd pick. Forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, but Azeez Ojulari with the 22nd pick. Solid player, played in the SEC, played against good competition. I think he could really make an impact on that defensive line and that defense. The Titans are a solid team, so just trying to strengthen that defense.
Yeah, I mean, as a Jags fan, I don't really like hearing that. I want my quarterback to be non-threatened by any divisional opponents, but I think it's a great pick for the Titans. They lose Jadeveon Clowney, who is now in Cleveland. They lose a few other pieces on the defensive side of the ball, but they've been a very good defense for the last few seasons. I think a piece like this, similar to the Colts, you're just taking a position of need with the best player available, and I think this guy has just proven it at the best conference in college football.
Yeah, and they could have gone receiver here. They could go cornerback. Sam with the Bears took Caleb Farley. I was really hoping he would drop two more spots there. Receiver, I like the guys there, but I could see them. I just don't like it at the 22 spot. There's so much receiver talent in this draft, so I thought definitely Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher, can make an immediate impact on that defense.
Makes sense. I mean, we've seen a lot of those types of edge rushers actually make an impact on day one, so maybe he can find himself. I think it's a lot of times because they aren't necessarily asked to do much except get after the quarterback, so they can really focus in on that niche of getting to the quarterback. A lot of times we're in a day and age in the NFL where, run play versus pass play, you have different defensive packages that can get onto the field. So in this situation, he's a lean guy. He looks like a guy that can get after the quarterback pretty easily. But let's get to the 23rd pick. We are going to go with GM DJ Leggett, our mock draft professor, with the 23rd pick after the Jets have already taken Zach Wilson. Who are the Jets taking at 23?
So Joe Douglas has talked about the kind of player he likes. He likes the big nasties up front. Let's go ahead and get some protection for our new quarterback, Zach Wilson. Who did they draft last year? They drafted the big boy, Mekhi Becton, to shore up their left tackle position for the next 5 years. Let's go ahead and get another bookend tackle to have two solid, huge guys and to potentially protect Zach Wilson for his rookie season or his rookie contract. Let's give him everything he needs protection-wise and have him dish it to those new receivers. They got Denzel Mims and they got Corey Davis. So I think they got some good receivers to help him. And like Zach was saying, there's plenty of talent. I think Jets have an early pick in the second round. I think they could target who they want, maybe sleep on it that night, target who they want early second round. They are going to go with Alex Leatherwood out of the University of Alabama. Shore up that tackle. That's a great offensive line now. What have we been talking about? The Jets' offensive line just being like Swiss cheese for the last 4 years. Let's go ahead and get a solid big boys on the line. Zach Wilson is going to be able to shine in that offense. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, honestly, finally time. You hit the nail on the head with Becton. That's a huge pick. Part of me wonders when the Jets made that pick, were they even making it for Sam Darnold at that point, right? Were they already looking ahead to, okay, even if we move past Sam Darnold, we got to get a guy that's going to be here for our next quarterback, who just so happens to be Zach Wilson. And then you go after a guy like Alex Leatherwood. Now you have 2 first-round tackles to protect your first-round quarterback. That's a great recipe for success in the NFL if they can at least develop some chemistry there. You mentioned Corey Davis, a great offensive acquisition. Denzel Mims burst onto the scene last year. I know he was kind of a sleeper throughout the league. But I think with those 2 picks for the Jets, they immediately get better. Obviously, getting a quarterback and a bookend tackle, you're going to get better. So I think the Jets have a lot to be excited about with those 2 picks in the first round at number 2 and 23. Let's go to number 24, Duval of the North. Luke Mucci is going to give us the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they have some great receivers. I don't think we need to go to receiver. They have Chase Claypool with Juju. They have some great guys over there. It's interesting seeing what Ben Roethlisberger will do going forward. Is he going to retire next year? Is he going to keep playing? Who knows? But they are lacking at running back. So having Travis Etienne be there is very tempting to take. He's a great running back out of Clemson. I know picking a running back in the first round usually isn't a good thing to do. You can find them later. But I do think since they don't have anybody and Travis Etienne is a big playmaker, I will take Travis Etienne out of Clemson to take the running back role in Pittsburgh.
I like it. Zach, you're laughing. What do you got, man?
No, I'm not laughing. I'm curious to why Etienne over Najee Harris. That's just my thing. I'm wondering what is there, you just like the playmaking ability from Etienne?
Yeah, I do like the playmaking out of Etienne. He's very explosive and can foot race anybody. I think he can make a lot of people miss. I think they both can. You're basically tossing up at that point. So I just have Etienne a little bit higher. So
yeah, I think you look at both those running backs, obviously extremely successful on both their teams. But I always felt like Etienne was the explosive one, and Najee Harris was just the workhorse guy. Could go up the middle, get you those 7 or 8 yards when you needed it most. But Etienne, I think, just brings that explosiveness. I think both running backs, for the record, are going to be extremely good in the NFL.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Pittsburgh definitely has to go running back. I was expecting Najee Harris, but I feel like it might just be because the talk around is Najee Harris over Etienne right now. But yeah, I'm with you, Justin, on those the comparisons. I would compare Travis Etienne to an Alvin Kamara. That's what I see when I watch Etienne play. And then when I see Najee Harris, I see a Nick Chubb playing. So I think those workhorse and that athletic running back is is a great comparison that you were giving. So solid pick for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a great pick. And hey, it's not out of nowhere that we see running backs going in the first round. I think, you can see what great running backs do for great teams. And you look at a lot of teams in the playoffs, not only do they have one good running back, a lot of them have 2 good running backs. So you got to get at least one good one. And I think Etienne is going to be that guy for the Steelers in this case. And it'll be fun. James Conner just signed with the Arizona Cardinals, actually. We talked about their offense. So Kyler Murray now has James Conner to play with, and the Steelers just reload at running back. And they have Benny Snell still there in Pittsburgh too. So, hey, honestly, Travis Etienne, Benny Snell, that kind of sounds like a nice little 1-2 punch there in Pittsburgh. I know plenty of Benny Snell. He just vultured all my James Conner touchdowns in fantasy last year. But I could see Etienne really making an impact there for the Steelers. And I will actually go ahead and take the 25th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, with their second pick in the NFL draft. And this is a fun one for me, because there's a guy that I want to draft here with my heart, and then there's a guy that I want to draft here with my head. And the guy that I want to draft with my heart is someone that us UCF fans know extremely well. He reminds me a lot of Kelvin Smith, simply based on his speed and athleticism. I think this guy was the most underrated player in college football last year on the defensive side of the ball. This guy did not get talked about once. He was always around the ball. He was always making plays. He can rush off the edge. He can play back. And if the Jags are switching to a 3-4 defense, which Joe Cullen, I think, wants to instill, this guy, I've talked myself into it at this point. I'm taking this guy. I'm going to go with linebacker Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. I think he is going to be a phenomenal defensive player just for the long term for the Jaguars. He's a few things that I like about him. The chip on his shoulder, played at Tulsa, didn't get much exposure, and he's a senior. I think that says a lot about a player. He's a senior. He has maturity. Similar to, like I said, about Trevor Lawrence, I like the guys that don't leave early, redshirt sophomores. I like the guys that stay and develop, and that's exactly what Zaven Collins has done at Tulsa. And he actually, I think, almost single-handedly helped Tulsa go to the AAC championship last year against Memphis, or against Cincinnati, excuse me. He did so much for Tulsa. I think he can do it in Jacksonville as well. It pains me to pick him, but I will love him to be on the Jaguars come April 29th. I think this would be a great move for the Jaguars. Luke,
absolutely.
Sam, what do you guys think?
Well,
I love it.
Yeah, I think the obvious choice is to go tight end with the Pat Freiermuth pick. I think a lot of Jags want him. They want him later in the draft. They don't want to spend the capital on him, but that tight end room is lacking. You get a 21-year-old tight end on a rookie contract. You can actually get 5 years out of him to pair him with Trevor Lawrence. I could see the combo that they're looking at there, another playmaker on offense, and a much needed and a big need for them. So I think that could, both directions. They could go either way. There's a lot of needs on this team, especially on defense. So Zaven Collins kind of checking off a few boxes for that new defensive coordinator, being able to rush the passer and all that. That would be great.
I love the pick. Zaven Collins, like you said, he is all around the football. And a big thing about the Jaguars, when Kelvin Smith left, he was such a big playmaker. He was always on the ball. If there was a ball being thrown, Kelvin was about to hit the guy. And I think Zaven Collins brings that back in there. He's just going to fly around, get some coverage, and hit anything that comes his way. So I love that. Yeah,
and Sam, on your point about Freiermuth, or is that how you pronounce the name? Freiermuth?
Freiermuth. Yep.
So I just have PTSD of drafting tight ends for the Jags. Like, we have not had any luck. And to be honest with you, 3 months ago, it was looking like Kyle Pitts would be there at 15 or 20. Seemed a lot more reasonable. We had a super long discussion about that. I think it was episode 78 or 79, where we went off on, it was 79, on the whole Kyle Pitts saga. But that would be the one guy that I feel certain about. But a guy like Freiermuth, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how many other teams behind us at this point are valuing tight end right now in the first round? Will he potentially be there at 33? I don't think Zaven Collins is there at 33, but I think Freiermuth could be there at 33. I think in this situation, you got to take the guy that's not going to be there at 33 if you're between the two of them. And I think Freiermuth has a better opportunity to still be there. And plus, I think Zaven Collins' impact on the field, the net positive is going to be better than what Freiermuth could be, especially given the offensive weapons at wide receiver that Trevor Lawrence has. Freiermuth might only see 5 or 6 targets a game, 3 or 4 catches a game, whereas Zaven Collins, he's going to be around the ball no matter where it's at. So that's my defense of Zaven Collins. There's also a safety on the board that I could have seen us taking that a lot of people like out of TCU and Trevon Moehrig. But we're going to go to the 26th pick with the Cleveland.
What's up? I want to say right before you mentioned some UCF fans you can relate to Zaven Collins because we play him. I thought you were gonna go reaching for Richie Grant there. You had me like, whoa, okay. I mean, most underrated. I was like, dude, he was a great player. Yeah, he was probably underrated in his time, wasn't talked about, but I was like, dude, that's what I thought you were going for a second. Yeah.
No, I mean, I remember the games that we've lost to Tulsa.
No, Zaven
2 years in a row. Zaven Collins. Like every single game, it's Zaven freaking Collins. I want him to be on my team so that I can say his name for positive impact for us, not negative. So we're going to go to the Cleveland Browns, and it is GM Poojie still on the clock with the Cleveland Browns. Oh, did I get lucky drafting for the Cleveland Browns at 26? They have a lot of needs here. One got kind of filled with Jadeveon Clowney. They have great edge rushers now with Clowney and Myles Garrett. So you look at the rest of that defensive line, they could use some help. There's a defensive lineman on the board right now that I could see them taking very easily, to be honest with you. You look at their wide receiver situation. There's a few wide receivers that I think they could take here, but I'm going to go the safe route. I'm going to go with defensive lineman out of Alabama, Christian Barmore here at 26. First interior defensive line that we've taken. I just want to point that out. First interior defensive lineman that we have taken in the first round. I think that kind of says a little bit about the saturation of the edge rushers, right? We have 4 edge rushers going, or really 3 edge rushers going before the first interior guy. I think there's a reason for that. But Christian Barmore, great player. I think that's another guy that the Jaguars could have been targeting. Honestly, if I had to put my money on it, I would say Zaven Collins and Christian Barmore go 25, 26 in any order, because I think both teams kind of have similar needs when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. I think the Cleveland Browns have to, I don't even want to say settle, but have to go with Christian Barmore simply because Zaven Collins gets drafted 1 pick ahead of them. Let's go to the number 27th pick in the draft here. We have the Baltimore Ravens, and Zach, I need you to be careful here because Matt Maynard, pseudo Baltimore Ravens GM, is standing right here to my left. So he is listening to you, and he will come attack you through this screen if you make the wrong pick here. I just need to give you that heads up.
And that's so much pressure. You know, one of my good buddies in law school, Briggs Holshe, shout out to him. He's a big Ravens fan as well. I've heard their concerns. I've heard their cries.
Come in here.
I think I want to say, their defense is solid. Their defense is damn good. I love the defense for the Ravens. Their offensive line is one of the best in the game as well. You picked a running back last year. You guys have Lamar Jackson. You have a tight end. You need a receiver at this point. I'm scared that Maynard is getting mad at me when he leans in, but there's a few receivers out there and right now, but you guys have Marquise Brown, who's a small guy, quick guy. You need that big body receiver. So right here, I don't think you could go wrong. It seems like the talent from LSU wide receivers has been top notch coming out for receivers. So I'm going Terrace Marshall Jr. for the Baltimore Ravens at 27, 6'3" receiver. That's what they need right now. I mean, they have Mark Andrews there for the red zone, but to get to the red zone, they need that other big receiver to extend the field alongside Marquise Brown.
All right. We got to go to Matt. Matt, what do we think of the pick?
I love it. I agree with it. We definitely need a deep threat. You mentioned Marquise Brown. No, he's a good slot guy. He can be a deep runner, but he's had a lot of trouble catching the football. So, and with us losing Willie Snead, so we need a big time guy, and I think Terrence is that kind of guy that we need. Lamar can just throw it up, and then boom, Terrence is right there. And I would love a receiver. I'll also not be surprised if we took an edge rusher. So with losing Ngakwe and losing Matt Judon is a huge loss, but I could go either way with that one. So I love the pick. You did good.
He likes it. So you get the stamp of approval from Matt Maynard, resident Ravens fan, excuse me. Terrace Marshall, 4 wide receivers off the board, 2 from Alabama, 2 from LSU. What does that say about the conference? We'll just leave it at that. that I love it. I love the pick. Terrace Marshall and Jalen Waddle, like they could have independently been the best receiver in another draft. So I just think it's hilarious that 4 receivers, 2 of them are from one school, 2 of them are from the other. But I like it. I like the pick. He's a bigger guy. I like your reasoning behind it. I think he'll go up and get the ball. And he does get some help from being there at LSU. I think, he goes up against defenses that a lot of other teams don't get the opportunity to go up against. He went up against Patrick Surtain. We've already talked about him. He was a top 10 pick. So he's gone up against defenses at Alabama, South Carolina, J.C. Horn, Florida Gators. So he's got experience playing against some of the best. And that's what you get out of the SEC. So like the pick there for the Ravens, Terrace Marshall. Let's go to number 28. We're going to bring GM Sam back into the mix. GM Sam with the New Orleans Saints, kind of an interesting team right now, to be honest with you. But who are you taking at 28?
Yeah, they got a quarterback competition for sure. Are they really going to trust Jameis Winston to be their franchise guy, their starting guy? That's what it looks like. It looks like they're leaning toward Jameis Winston being that guy, and putting the other guy, I can't think of his name, back, Taysom Hill. That's right, back in his role as the offensive weapon that he is for that team. I think that they have a glaring need on defense, though, that they need to address. They need to replace Janoris Jenkins. They need to go ahead and get another corner to put on the opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore. And just so happens that there's a first-round prospect available still at corner, one of the most important positions to get right in the NFL. And they'll take Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, a lengthy corner, great ball skills, just like Marshawn Lattimore. It's going to get a lot of picks for that team, get the ball back to their offense, which I feel like is transitioning into a more of a running team. Let's not get Jameis Winston too many throws. Let's keep the ball in, Alvin Kamara's hand. Let's keep our really good defense. Let's get some pass rush. Let's get great turnovers on defense, and let's run the ball well and control the clock now that Drew Brees is not in the building anymore to run that offense. So I think that's going to be a great pick for them. If he wasn't there, I'm not sure where they would go. They have some needs, but on the interior defensive line, that guy just went right before him, Christian Barmore, which would have been a great pick for them. They do need defensive line help, but just so happens the corner's there. Let's go ahead and take him.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I was reading up on Greg Newsome actually just because I felt like after Caleb Farley, I didn't really know much about a lot of the corners. Just there was a little bit of a drop off. And I think what I've read is that he has a good attitude. He's a good attitude locker room guy, which us NFL fans love, using that cliche, great locker room guy. But I think he also takes very good angles from what I've seen. And he actually has very quick hips. So when he's backpedaling, when he's running alongside the receiver, he's actually able to get his body around and make those important plays, whether it's off the fingertips or just getting the passes deflected. So you mentioned it, first round talent, probably a top 20 talent, top 25 talent sitting here at 28. Again, just cornerback is like quarterback right now, just a saturated position in this year's draft. And I like the pick. You can't go wrong there with an important cornerback for the Saints against on the other side. Other point I want to make is he doesn't have to be the guy right now. They got Marshawn Lattimore. So I think it's important to note he doesn't have to be the guy day one. I think, us here in Jacksonville struggled with CJ Henderson. He came in having to fill Ramsey's shoes, having to be the guy from day one, top 10 pick, top 10 pick, all these crazy, things. I think this is great. He comes into a situation where they already have a great cornerback. He doesn't have to be the guy right away. He can just kind of fit into the mold, and become a starter from day one, kind of in the shadows of a top 5 corner in the league. So I love the pick for the Saints. I just forgot his name. My bad. What was it, Sam?
Greg Newsome.
I kept wanting to say Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore. I just kept wanting to say it. But let's go to the 29th pick with the Packers. Luke Mucci, GM Luke, is on the clock for another back-to-back picks here. He's got the Packers. Who is Green Bay going with to help out the almost Super Bowl-bound Green Bay Packers, if not for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean, last year they took Jordan Love, and I mean, Green Bay Packers fans must hate their GM right now. They were one game away from making it to the Super Bowl, albeit they lost to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, but I mean, you're wasting a first round pick on Jordan Love, and you are in the mix to be in the Super Bowl, and you just go ahead and use a pick on something that's not even useful for you. So I think the Green Bay Packers, there's a lot of things that they could want here. Receiver to help Devontae Adams spread the field some more. It shows that they need a tackle. And then there's also a cornerback. They have Jair Alexander, maybe pair him with another great cornerback. So, I mean, there's different options here, but I know Packers fans would love to have another receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and take Rashad Bateman, spread the offense out, give Devontae Adams some more room to breathe. So he's not the only one being covered by 3, 4, 5 guys.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about Devontae Adams. I think a lot of people get lost with the idea that, okay, number one receivers, elite guys don't need a number two, right? So that's not the situation. You need to have that second guy. You need it. We've seen time and time again, great receivers not produce well simply because there's not other targets on opposite ends of the field. We've seen Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's both be very capable wide receivers in Tampa Bay. We've seen it work there. I think this is a great opportunity for the Packers to avenge some wrongdoings from last year where they could have gotten a receiver late in the draft. And Justin Jefferson was there, right? They could have drafted Justin Jefferson there last year.
I believe
right?
they could have. I believe so.
I feel like they drafted Jordan Love over Justin Jefferson.
No, actually, Justin Jefferson went a few picks before.
And there was a lot. Who was it?
T. Higgins.
I think T. Higgins was picked in the second round, but I think what it was that they traded up.
Right.
People thought they were going to take a receiver, and they took Jordan Love. Which, you know what? For me personally, looking at the GM's eyes, it's really not a terrible way, but there's to look at it. I mean, I think it was a solid pick, to be honest. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there forever. They did the same thing with Brett Favre when Aaron Rodgers was drafted. Jordan Love was kind of dropping in that draft because people had him in the top 20 being taken. So I think they saw their opportunity to try to fix their future and went for it. But I definitely think this year they got to go receiver like you did, Luke. I think it was a solid pick.
Yeah, that's great.
Mean,
go for it, Sam.
A good thing to note with Devontae Adams, too, he's on the last year of his contract this year. So what are you going to do next year? I mean, you're going to have nobody. So I think getting a guy to put across from him this year, make another run at the Super Bowl is an excellent idea, help out, and then reevaluate what you got with Devontae Adams next year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, especially to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, too. Could Aaron Rodgers departing maybe after the season maybe force Devontae Adams to think about moving on? Like, maybe he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuilded offense. Like, who knows what could go on in the mind, but winning the Super Bowl could actually do dividends, pay dividends, kind of like we saw from the Buccaneers, players wanting to stay and keep that chemistry alive. So I think that's a great pick. Rashad Bateman there for the Green Bay Packers at 29. Luke, let's stay with you, and we are going to go with pick number 30, the so close to the Super Bowl, Buffalo Bills. Not so fast, my friends. The Chiefs held them off, but the Bills are on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, that Buffalo Bills game was not very pretty for them. They kind of got throttled by the Kansas City Chiefs there. So when you look at it, what do they need? I mean, their running back situation isn't great, so Najee Harris could be a pick here. I do like maybe picking up another corner to help them out, so they have two good corners over there. So it's a very interesting pick. But like I said, I just think their running back situation is so messed up and muddy that I'm going to take Najee Harris here. I mean, when your best running back is probably your quarterback, you're in a bad position.
I like it. Hey, honestly, you took Travis Etienne earlier. Now you're taking Najee Harris, so you ended up getting to pick both the running backs anyway. Zach, you're looking a little upset right now. Is that being a Dolphins fan?
Yeah, man. I'm just looking at this draft and I see Zach Wilson to the Jets, and Trey Lance to the Pats. Alex Leatherwood to the Jets, and now Najee Harris. It's just not looking fun for us. I know we got 2 picks, but drafts always scare me when it comes to the division rivals and what they get.
Yeah, and especially when one of your division rivals has 2 picks and presumably drafts their franchise quarterback, and then you're in this situation where the team maybe drafts a franchise running back. Yeah. You're not looking at your divisional. Oh, and then the Patriots potentially draft a franchise quarterback at 15. So, yeah, I would be scared too. Go for it.
And the running back that was just taken was the one I was considering at 18 too. So that might sting a little also if he comes to hurt us. So.
If I wanted to pair it with a corner, I was going to go with Sante Samuel Jr. Which one would you be more scared of?
That's probably honestly that might be tough. Maybe Asante Samuel Jr. because I've seen what we did with 2 cornerbacks. If you pair him up with Tre'Davious White, that's a scary duo there, especially for Tua to be throwing. Which now scares me that I didn't take a receiver at any point in this first round. But I'm still scared of Najee Harris because the guy is going to be a stud, I feel like. It seems like every Alabama running back is solid. So
minus Eddie Lacy.
Zach, I have a question. Yeah, Fat Eddie. I have a question for you. At 18 with the Dolphins, you took Jalen Phillips. Okay, so now looking at it in hindsight, you just mentioned you maybe should have taken a wide receiver. Would you have taken Terrace Marshall at 18 out of LSU, or would the Jalen Phillips pick stick in your head?
Yeah, Jalen Phillips I would stick with. Honestly, if I were choosing for the Dolphins at 18 and it had to be a receiver, I'd probably go Rashad Bateman.
Okay.
He's a smaller guy, and we already have Devontae Parker. The reason I went Terrace Marshall for the Ravens was because I felt like they needed that big body guy. The only big body guy I think I would take in that first round would have been Jamar Chase, that receiver.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious. I know we sometimes in the draft, you plan for what you think your opponents might draft, and then you look back and say, wait, maybe we should have done something different. Yeah. But I think the Jalen Phillips pick is cemented there. I think it's a good pick. And now we're on to the 31st pick with the Chiefs. And GM Poojie is on the clock for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's always so tough picking, obviously, for a team that just went to the Super Bowl. Where do you go? We've seen them do it in the past. They take whatever Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and, they just have fun with it. They just take, I guess, luxury items, right? You just don't need much, so you just take whatever you want. Well, that's where we're at now with the Chiefs. And you really look at their roster. I mean, similar to the Cardinals, like I mentioned, offensive line is always a decent position to take. I'm sure a lot of fans would rather see the Chiefs go somewhere else. I'm actually going to be a little bit selfish here just because I like this guy. I think he's going to almost be like a Laviska Shenault that the Jags got in the second round. Or Sam, was Shenault second or third? Third?
Second. Shenault was second.
Second.
Yeah.
So I know that the Chiefs have Tyreek Hill. I know they have Mecole Hardman. I think they need a big receiver, and I'm actually going to have them taking wide receiver out of Colorado or out of Purdue, Rondell Moore at this pick. I think he's being slept on. Obviously, in this draft, he's now the 6th receiver drafted, but I think he just fits the mold there in Kansas City for them. They obviously have the speed. He's a 5'9" guy, so he's not going to blow anyone. In the red zone, he's not going to actually get up and get the ball. But I think he just fits the mold for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's sure-handed. And I don't know what it is. I don't have much on it, but I think I could just see them going. It's just an embarrassment of riches at this point for the Chiefs. I think they just go out and get another great receiver to just let Patrick Mahomes have fun. Why not? It's worked in the past. Let's keep it going. What do you guys think?
So you said 5'9", but he actually measured at 5'7" on his pro day. So, I mean, you got Tyreek Hill, and now you got Rondell Moore. Maybe you should go – maybe they possibly want to go for a big guy to replace the Sammy Watkins pick would be my thoughts. But you have Tyreek Hill, and now you got you got this guy, Rondell Moore.
So I'm looking at the receivers.
Of riches.
I'm looking at the receivers left. So Elijah Moore's there, Kadarius Toney, Amari Rodgers, Dimey Brown, and then it's a big drop off after him. Dimey Brown 6'1". You have Amari Rodgers at 5'9", Kadarius Toney 5'11", and Elijah Moore at 5'9". So at this point,
so take a tackle then. How'd you lose the Super Bowl?
That's true too.
You didn't protect Patrick Mahomes. I think you should get the next best tackle. Because you're not picking until real late tomorrow. So you need to get some protection for your franchise guy. What are you paying him? $50 million a year?
Yeah. So like Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Samuel Cosme.
Oh, true. Okay. Well,
like
I'm
him.
I'm going with the luxury pick here just because we've seen the Chiefs do it in the past. I'm going to stick with it with Rondale Moore. I just think he fits there for the Chiefs. I think he'll have some fun in that offense as well. And we're going to go to the 32nd pick, the final pick, the Super Bowl winners. Zach Munoz, GM Zach, is on the clock. Who are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking here?
Should I FaceTime Dirty Schmurda right now and see?
Is he available? Is he available?
Good.
I have no idea
Phone a friend
right now. But the Bucs, they just came off a Super Bowl. It's Tom Brady's 7th Super Bowl. That team is quietly stacked. I mean, offensively, it was like the whole talk of the town last year that they're stacked on offense. Defense, they are stacked. They have some expiring contracts. So do you go with Ndamukong Suh, replace somebody for Ndamukong Suh, get an interior defensive lineman? I don't think at this spot in the draft there's anybody out there that's worth going for. You could go edge rusher right here with Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, keep the Florida ties. But I'm going to actually possibly make a surprise pick and load up on that offense even more and take Kadarius Toney out of Florida, the receiver, that speedster. I would love to see Tom Brady throw little screen passes to him and have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk all out in front blocking for this guy. I think that is a solid pick at 32, especially for what they're doing there in Tampa Bay. Like I said, Gregory Rousseau was I was up in the air with the two of them, but I saw all the receivers going right now. I figured, you know what, let me jump on them right now, get that speedster, and I think Tom Brady would be happy with that. I think.
Sorry, I was muted. My bad. I was saying I think that's a great pick, and like you said, a fun pick for Tom Brady. So both Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady get two fun guys there at the end. But Luke, I want your thoughts real quick on that Kadarius Toney pick. I know you're a little bit of a Florida Gator supporter, so you've seen him time and time again. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, you love seeing receivers that are both it has him as a two-sport athlete, track and football. So he's got the speed. To put him in the slot, you have Mike Evans and Godwin on the outside. Put Toney on the slot and let him just run rampant on some linebackers for or their third corner out there. So I think it's a great pick. I mean, he's going to shove Scotty Miller to the wayside. Welcome in Kadarius Toney.
No, we love Scotty Miller.
We love Scotty.
I'll say too. Last year, they dealt with so many injuries on offense. I think another receiver doesn't hurt. If Najee Harris would have dropped, that would have been also another consideration I'd take, especially with Fournette on 1-year contract. So, but Kadarius Toney was there. I'm happy with that.
I like it. Well, all right, guys. I appreciate you doing this. Fun draft. Fun doing this. Yeah, Zach, go for it.
One more thing for everybody. If the draft, how we did it right now, stands as it is, Alabama would have just broken the record for the most players drafted in the first round, beating they just had 7 people. It was Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle, Alex Leatherwood, Christian Barmore, and Najee Harris. That would be 7. That would be the 2004 Miami Hurricanes, who had 6.
Jeez. So 7 picks. That's almost 25% of the first round.
Yeah, they have it. They have right now in Mel Kiper's projected thing is they got 6 guys drafted. We took 7. I like our 7. Let's see if it happens.
I like it. I mean, hey, even on that note, you look at who else was drafted. We had 2 out of Florida, 2 out of LSU, right? So there's 11 out of the SEC. And then you have J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Did we have anyone else out of the SEC? Georgia, Aziz Ojulari.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So almost 50%. So 13 of the 32 were out of the SEC, which I think is also another crazy little nugget there. I wonder what the most out of one conference is in the NFL draft history. Anything else from you guys? DJ Leggett. I mean, hey, when I started this podcast over a year ago, it was building up to this moment for our mock draft professor, Sam Leggett, to just spew knowledge all over the screen. How did it go, Sam? How do you feel right now? Do you feel liberated?
A great draft. I'm gonna give it an A for the picks you guys made. A couple of my favorite picks, I think, are the Jalen Phillips pick for the Dolphins at 18. I love that pick. Imagine y'all's head coach is a defensive-minded guy. You guys need that versatility on the D-line and to get after the quarterback to help your 2 corners out. And then the pick right after with the JOK pick to the Washington football team. I think that's awesome too. Another defensive-minded head coach. It's just a perfect fit there. They were a great team, kind of flying under the radar again this year. I got a question for you guys, though. Jags have the 33rd pick. Let's do a bonus pick. Who is going to be taken first on day 2? Justin, what are you thinking?
So we talked about Pat Freiermuth. Again, I don't know if there's enough value there to draft him, and I don't necessarily care to draft a tight end when you have 3 or 4 capable wide receivers. Just put Chenault closer to the line, and he's a big body guy that can just play in the middle of the field. I am going to go with the biggest position of need here with a guy that is a first-round talent that did not get drafted. Probably could have gone to the Chiefs, maybe, even if I think about it. But I'm going to go with Trevon Moehrig from TCU, the safety. I've seen him actually be mocked to the Jaguars at 25 quite frequently. He was the one that I was actually considering alongside of Zaven Collins. If he is there, I think on Thursday night, I think the Jaguars brass is going to go to bed extremely happy going into Friday morning. Luke, what about you? 33rd pick. Who are the Jags going with?
I do like the Trevon Moehrig pick. We need a ball hawk safety. That's a big need for us to help with defense. Since I don't want to pick the same as you, I will go with Pat Freiermuth. He's baby Gronk. He's 6'5". He has the same number. He's just shoving people over. So we've had a terrible tight end room forever. Let's get baby Gronk in there.
I like it. Zach, so when I was saying that, you almost had your face as if you knew what I was going to say. Was there a first-round talent that you were thinking?
I don't know the Jaguars like you guys do, but, yeah, I think somebody that is definitely first-round talent that dropped because they didn't play this year is Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. I think the guy, he had like 15 sacks 2 seasons ago. He opted out this past year. He had a solid pro day, but I think he was just overshadowed by Jalen Phillips' pro day. I thought that's where you were going to go, but I think safety is a solid spot too. I see that Trevon Moehrig, I think was his name you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see he's like taken quite high in some of the first round in the mock drafts. I see another mock draft that he was taken 33rd to you guys. So, yeah, definitely could see y'all taking him, Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah. So for Gregory Rousseau, is he more of like an edge rusher? Would he fit a 3-4 defense, or would he be more of like one of those 4 linebackers on the outside?
No, I think he's an edge rusher for sure on a 3-4 defense. He may be. See, I think that's what separated him and Jalen Phillips, because I was watching their pro day, and in the pro day, Jalen Phillips was able to cover that outside. Like they had him run a route they had him cover around like a linebacker, and it was like a 30-yard pass, and Jalen Phillips was able to catch it like over the shoulder where Gregory Rousseau tracked it down but couldn't catch it. So he might have trouble there.
Yeah.
But I think getting to the quarterback, the dude is a stud. He's a monster. He's got the body of like DK Metcalf. It's crazy.
All right, last question for you guys. How many trades happen in the first round? No one of you can pick the same number, and whoever does pick the right number will get a special little Poojie Podcast piece of merch from me sent to you for doing this and being here for an hour and 40 minutes now. So how many trades happen in the first round? Luke, you're in my top left, so we're going to let you start it off for us.
Let's see. Looking through here, I see 1. I see 2. I'm going to go with 3.
Three trades?
3, yeah, 3 movements.
Okay. And Zach, what about you? And actually, hey, you know what? Each of you text me your trades, and if you do pick the same number, whoever has the most correct trades will get the free piece of merch. So you have to text it to me exclusively.
Okay. So don't say anything right now, or
well, you can say how many you think.
It might change. I'll do more researching, but right now, off the top of my head, I would say 4.
Okay. So we got Luke with 3, you with 4.
Yeah.
And I was gonna go 5 before anyone said anything. So, how many are there usually? There's usually a good amount, right? I mean, like last year you had the Packers, you had a few others. So,
I would say this. I would say this year, because there is so much talent at some key positions, we could see more movement than expected. And then I also always know there's 1 or 2 at the end of the first round that always kind of sneak up on you, that it might just be 2 picks or 3 picks up and maybe just for like a 3rd round pick. But there's always seems to be like a backdoor trade on first round that makes it be 3 or 4, even 5. So we got Luke with 3, Zach with 4, Sam with 5. I'd like to know what trades you think those actually are. If you guys want
the Falcons, you got the Falcons and the Panthers, I think could possibly move out of their spot.
Yeah, those 2.
So that's 2 right there. Like you said, a couple more at the end. Throw 1 in the middle. You got 5 right there.
I don't think the Falcons are trading back. I got to be honest, man. I think they're gonna.
So,
I think
Kyle Pitts.
What's up?
Kyle Pitts.
No, I think they're gonna go Justin Fields. I mean, he's an Atlanta boy. I think you put Justin Fields right behind Matt Ryan for a year. Why not?
This brings up, do you think Justin Fields is going to San Fran, or you think Mac Jones is going to San Fran?
It's Mac Jones.
I think Trey Lance is going to San Fran.
All right, wait, that's a perfect stopping point. Mac Jones, Justin Phillips, and Trey Lance. What we're going to do, so this is 10 days out. Next week on Monday, we'll release it on Tuesday. We're actually going to do a draft preview, not necessarily on our live mock draft, but maybe what we think will happen with trades and different picks in these types of debates between what quarterback will be going to San Francisco. So, Luke, thank you very much for bringing that up, because I think that's a great starting point for episode next week on actual draft week, to have a nice 45-minute to an hour-long episode of the podcast. That would be episode 84. So tune into episode 84. Episode 83 is going to be a fun one as well, coming up later this week. But for now, thank you for tuning into our live stream mock draft 2021, our first live stream we have ever done here on the Poojie Podcast. It took us a year to get here and some technical learning curves on my end to learn how to do this. So I appreciate these 3 gentlemen for being here, our resident Raven expert, Matt Maynard, for being here. And as always, thank you to Cimarron Golf Club, Strings Sports Brewery, and Shores Pub Mandarin for supporting the podcast, as they always do. Love all 3 of those places. Fans, subscribe on YouTube, follow on social media, follow on your favorite podcast platform. It's sitting there at the bottom right now. Do all those things. Just show some love to the podcast. Tell your friends about it. We're trying to do big things here. Thank you, Zach. Nice hat, Sam. But until next time, fans, go make this world a better place. Take care.
Thanks, Justin.